Welcome back, everybody, to the Waveoftheworld podcast. As usual, I am your host, Jacob Bodega. My podcast serves as entertainment as well as worldly insight into the lives of everyday people that are creating their own narratives. We discuss various topics ranging from current news to personal one-on-one interviews with some of the friends that I find very interesting. Everyone has a story, and I am ready to hear yours. Thank you again for joining me on another bi-weekly episode of the Waveoftheworld podcast. I appreciate all of the support. We are almost at 10,000 listens on podcast platforms. I want y'all to give it up for y'all selves because y'all got me here. And I truly believe that if you want to do something, you just have to go ahead and jump in and do it. Even if you don't have all the facts, even if you don't think that it's going to succeed, you can kind of find your steps along the way. I didn't think anybody would be listening to me, but as I am speaking and breathing right now, I can look on my computer. Give me 1 second. We are being listened to, and I know it's at least more than 20 states in the U.S., but we are being listened to in Saudi Arabia, in Ireland, in Germany, in Russia, in India, in Australia, in Japan, Vietnam, Singapore, Canada, the Philippines, Sweden, Honduras, Guatemala. I love all of you. I appreciate all of you for listening and joining me on this podcast. Like I said, bi-weekly, just because I have to take a mental break for myself, and I'm looking for people to help me progress the podcast further into the future and, do different endeavors and that sort of thing. I don't even want to be the host of the podcast one day. I want to pass it off to someone else to host or have a co-host on to join me talking about whatever it is that's going on in the world or just things that are going on with, day-to-day people. That's why I always bring my friends on. And, I love hearing y'all's feedback. I appreciate y'all for all your support. Clearly, I didn't think I'd be listened to this much, but like I said, nonetheless, I appreciate y'all. Now we're about to jump into today's topics. So a big one, and I talked about it a little bit in my last episode. This past week, this episode is being recorded on the 24th of May. The 24th of May. And this past week, if you are an investor or if you're a gambler, because I know a lot of people do that too and claim they're an investor, if you got to fake it till you make it, that's fine. But the crypto market crashed big this weekend, and I put an emphasis on that big because one of the big ones two of the main ones that everybody talks about are Bitcoin and Ethereum. And Bitcoin had reached an all-time high of around, I think, 55,000 per coin. And then Ethereum, it ended up reaching about 45, I think it's either 45 or 4,800. And then it dropped to 1,700 within a day. And then Bitcoin, it dropped all the way to 30,000 within like 3 days. And that's just been unheard of. That hasn't happened since 2011, I think, whenever Bitcoin reached 11,000 and people thought that was crazy. So I want to draw everybody's attention to, if you haven't, I consider myself an investor. I don't consider myself a gambler. I was gambling for about 2 weeks, and then I had to, pull myself back because I had made my goal that I had set out. I had set out a personal goal for myself. I wasn't comparing myself to anybody else. I set out a goal to make $1,000 in a month, and I ended up making $1,000 in a week. It's not a flex, but it's a little bit of a flex. And then I lost all of that money, plus an extra, $400 or $500 because I started gambling a little bit with it. And I just advise everybody, even though I advise you all to get into investing, regardless if it's crypto or stocks or real estate or whatever you may or may not be interested in, to always do your research. I will present some facts to you, but at the end of the day, it's not on me, it's on y'all to do your due diligence and search what interests you. I always, when I'm talking to some of my, coworkers and associates, I always advise them. I use that term advised loosely because I'm not trying to get sued. Your boy out here trying to make it on his own. But the strategy that I really suggest for everyone who's trying to get into investing is to save up $60 one week, save up $40 the next week, save up $50 the third week, and then save up another $40 in the fourth week. And then on the fifth week, you take all of that money that you've saved and invest into one company that is currently in your house. It had to be produced by somebody, and if you like it enough to where it's in your regular, grocery routine, then it should be a strong enough and confident enough company for you to invest money into it. And then you can start learning how different companies, how they scale their business, what their business model looks like, and what they plan to do in the future. And then from there, you can literally do that for 3 months, and you'll have 4 to 5 companies that you will be invested in. And more than likely, if they're decent companies like Apple or Netflix or Disney Plus or Berkshire Hathaway, because they have a lot of companies underneath them, you're going to see some type of profit, even if you just leave it alone and not sell it. So that's what I suggest to everybody. Other than that, we're going to jump into today's topics. First off, I want to shout out Monica, my last guest who was on the podcast. If you haven't listened to episode 30, it was really dope. I got to learn a lot about Monica, even though she was my friend. And if you want to learn about Monica as well, please go back, listen to episode 30. Don't remember what the name of the title was, but I know it had something to do with Topless Harry and the Royal King's wedding. Another shout out that I want to do is to Amanda Turley for being the first Big Wave Energy Patreon subscriber. I appreciate you, Amanda, and I thank you for supporting the podcast. If you want to support the podcast more than listenership on podcast platforms, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Waveoftheworld. You can also go to www.jacobsbodega.com and purchase any merchandise. I just put up, last week, some of the jewelry that I'll be selling. And I'm partnering with a couple of other people to get some cool things going for you guys. We're going to have hats, beanies, crop top hoodies for women, sweaters, tie-dye hoodies, sweatpants, dad hats. Already got stickers on there. And we about to make it real cozy over here. I am coming up with a couple of new logos that I think would look dope, and if you rock it, you can have a chance to be on the website. I've been trying to circulate the different people that buy the merchandise and support me by putting them on my website and just advertising. I want everybody to look good, feel powerful, feel confident in the clothes that they are wearing. Which brings me to the merch that I'm releasing hopefully in August. It's going to be called POCO, and it stands for Powerful Confident Clothing. And the only reason that I originally wanted to start the podcast is to get over my fear of speaking. I told y'all on numerous occasions that I work at a restaurant now, and I've always been deemed the quiet and the shy guy, but I want to take that label off of me that people have placed on me, and I want to put that energy into something else, which is one, why I created the podcast, and two, why I've started this clothing. Because I want people to feel powerful, confident, and comfortable in the clothing. So I'm gonna pop a little logo right here, just so y'all can see what I've been working on. And once the merch comes out, once I get everything cleared out of the way, y'all will be the first to know. And then once it's sold out, it's sold out. I can't. Then you have to wait for the next go round. But if you want to support, I appreciate you. All of this will be on jacobsbodega.com. And if you want to join the Patreon, you get access to some of this stuff earlier. I already told them about this a while ago. But there's just a couple things that I've been working on and I want to, bring to the people. And that's what y'all do for me. Well, other than that, let's jump right into today's topics. I think it's important to keep up with news regardless if you like it or if it pertains to you or not. But a big acquisition that happened today, actually, that I heard about last Thursday or last Friday, maybe. Amazon is looking to buy out MGM Studios. And the last major purchase that Amazon got was Whole Foods in 2017. And they bought Whole Foods for $13.7 billion. They're buying MGM Studios for somewhere between $8.5 and $9 billion. Now, what I think, this is just my personal opinion, what's going to happen, is that Amazon is going to release some of MGM Studios movies on Amazon Prime videos, which already comes free with Amazon Prime. But another thing that they could do is do similarly to Disney Plus, Walmart Plus. They would just do an Amazon Plus where they get you for the video subscription and then get you with the Prime membership subscription separately. Because lately since they started Amazon Prime, they've only charged you for the Prime services, but that came with the free 2-day shipping if possible. And then they give you Amazon Music and then, the Amazon Prime Video. But I think they're going to try to, if they can, I don't know if there's any legal laws around it, but just watch out. I think it's interesting. And it's also going to be fun to watch the streaming war that seems to just be popping up out of nowhere, all created because of Netflix. And Netflix is the OG, and Netflix has no soul because they took out Blockbuster, and then they just recently released a documentary on the last Blockbuster. That is some mafia type like who does that? Who kills you and then makes your documentary? That's next level. They have to have some type of mafia people or mafia affiliated people working for Netflix. You can't convince me otherwise. Sorry. Catch my breath. So yeah, look in I'd say within the next year to see Amazon try to diversify what they originally created, because Bezos did step down as a CEO. Also, Elon stepped down as CEO of Tesla as well. But obviously they still, both of those, I just call them conglomerates because them and themselves could create a whole separate company and still be fine. But they're still both board members of both their companies, so it's not like they're going anywhere. Someone else that isn't going anywhere, y'all are wild. So there was, I've heard a bunch of different parents that I know of telling me stories of their kids, going to school and then, them not going to school for like 2 to 3 weeks and doing school over Zoom, blah, blah, blah. And they've just been going back and forth since August, which is terrible. But there was a man who didn't leave his house. He was stuck in a Zoom class. There was a New York City teacher who got busted sucking a man's nipple during the Zoom class. Now, hear me out. Amanda K. Fletcher, Spanish teacher, who was remotely teaching at Columbia Secondary School for Math, Science, and Engineering, and apparently dominatrixing. It's reported that the students watched a live class where Miss Fletcher appeared to suck the nipple of an unidentified topless male while gyrating or rocking back and forth. Now, I don't know what class this was, but I guarantee you she ain't got no job. This teacher has had a history. She also was eating spaghetti with the shirtless man behind her, and then after sucking his nipple, she resumed teaching and discussing the worksheet. She just went back to business as usual. She was like, oh, this camera ain't on. We ain't worried about these children. She also gave no explanations and declined interviews. And she was reassigned back in October and will face disciplinary action. She also made 6 figures as a teacher. I don't know too many teachers making that much money. But I hope the kids learn something. I hope that, maybe they had to write a paper on it. I don't know. That would definitely go in the science class. You can be talking about hormones as long as my creative mind would flip and twist this until it made sense. It was engineering. She was trying to engineer something, and math, two plus or one female plus one male could equal, a third person. I know 1 plus 1 is 2, but it's about to be 3. Whew, y'all are wild. Not in front of the camera. At least be like my mother and put a piece of tape over the damn camera. Like, come on. I need you to be better, especially if you're a teacher. Someone who was not trying to be better. Now, I want to preface this with, I feel like if this was a woman, and to any woman listening to this podcast, I'm not coming for women. I just want to be clear. But I feel like if this was a woman, other women would champion her and be like, yes, queen, blah, 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 all that. But since it's a man, I feel like it would it's one of those double standard things, which I don't really care, but it's just news and I'm presenting the facts to y'all. So there was a serial dater who was arrested after manipulating 35 women into giving him birthday gifts on different days. Don't hate the player, hate the game. This man is a master finesser. He swindled women into giving him birthday gifts on different days and pretended to be in relationships with them. I've seen women do the same thing, but just not pretend like it's their birthday. I don't get why he was arrested. He received gift cards, presents, clothes, but he never told them his actual birthday. He also works for a marketing company. Now, if I own a marketing company, I'm squeezing this man for every ounce of juice that he got in it. Why? Because he knows how to extract things from women. And I think the goal in marketing is, now this may seem strange when I say it, but just hear me out, because I've seen companies do it. You get the women to do it. You get black men to do it. You get black women to do it. Then you get the white people to do it. And then you get the black men and the black women to stop doing it or stop using it, whatever it is. I've seen it happen time and time again, I'm not saying it's right, but a lot of trendy things or a lot of items or services or products that go viral, a lot of the times it's because black people hype them up, black people get them their sales, and then white people tried to then hop on the train on top of that. There's very rarely been an occasion, other than James on whatever podcast episode that was, great episode, go listen to it. There's been rare occasion that a white person has put me on to something. I'll just phrase it that way for anybody listening. Very rare. But other than that, it's normally black people who create the culture in America. And then everybody else just, hops on the bandwagon because I don't know if to any of my fellow, people of color listening, when a white person says bruh, it just something doesn't sit right with me. I don't know any other way to explain it, but it just doesn't sound right coming out of the white mouth. That's just how I feel. You can attack me in the comments if you want to, but I'm just saying what's on my heart. No disrespect, I love white people. My girlfriend's white. No disrespect whatsoever. But that's just how I think brands, products, and services work most of the time. I would say 80% of the time that's how it works. And but use this man to market whatever product that you need. And he attacked, I say attacked. I'm not even going to use that term because that's derogatory and that's acting like physical harm came to them. He bamboozled. He conned. He creatively thought of a way to get 35 women to give him birthday gifts. Play on, player. I am happy for you. I'm sorry. This podcast is all over the place. But we are getting towards the end of it. There's something that I want to challenge you all to do. You know how I ask whenever I have a guest, I have them answer the final four, but we're not doing the final four today since I have a guest. But I actually just saw this on Instagram. I'll pop the little picture up. It's from this licensed marriage therapist that I follow just because I followed him from another content creator's page, but he also does a lot of therapy outside marriage counseling, which is why I follow him. His name is Steven Lewis, MFT, I think. And like I said, I'll pop the picture here so you'll see it. And if you're not watching on YouTube, you can go on Instagram. I'm pretty sure his name is Steven Lewis, MFT. If not, I'll put it in the description of this episode. But he posted this picture of a Monologue FM radio. And it was just a cartoon drawing about having an inner monologue. And it states, "You're listening to Inner Monologue FM with me, DJ Subconscious, playing all your thoughts nonstop, uninterrupted, 24 hours a day. From classes like, why did I say that? And golden oldies like, am I a horrible person? To today's hottest hits, what the hell am I doing with my life? And am I hungry or am I bored? Stay tuned." That's what the comic says. And I found it interesting, and I think that once a day, maybe twice a week, if you forget once a day. I've been journaling recently and I forget every day, so twice a week or once a day, whatever's more comfortable for you, to ask yourself those, I don't want to say uncomfortable questions, but the questions that question your thoughts. I challenge everybody to question your inner monologue and, just see where it takes you. You may end up down a rabbit hole, but that's fine. If you end up down the rabbit hole, just try to try to catch yourself as much as you can so you're not wasting any of your precious time. But I think it's a good exercise, and if you are like me, who has trouble dealing with his feelings a lot of the times, which is why I go to therapy, I challenge you to explore your thoughts, not think further on your thoughts, because I consider myself an overthinker, and I feel that sometimes you have to think about your thoughts and not try to think about whatever situation or whatever's happening in your life right now. I feel that you should try to expand on your thoughts a little bit more. Talking to yourself in the mirror, journaling helps as well. Meditating helps as well. Because all of those things require you to face yourself. Talking to yourself in the mirror, you literally have to see the words coming out of your mouth and you're speaking to yourself. Journaling is another form of that, but you have to there's something to actually writing your thoughts down, regardless of what they are. I don't even care if they're, I had a good day today. Then you'll go back and read that in a blank book. You'll go back and read that and be like, oh, I had a good day on April 22nd, 2019. And then you'll try to remember that happy time, and it'll probably get you through whatever obstacle that you're reaching at this point. And then when you have that conversation in your head, then you're more conscious of your thoughts, and you tend to listen more than you react. And I got this from my therapist, but I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening whenever he brought up the suggestion. But I do think it's a really good thing to do, and do it with some of your friends. I think that'd be a cool little exercise just to see, how you all interact with yourselves around each other, and just see what comes out. I think it'd be a fun game to play. Now we're going to jump into the music moment. Yes, the music moment. I've had a lot of requests in my DMs to continue doing this, so I'll try to do it every episode if I can. If not, please don't hold me to it. There's a lot of music out there, and once I get into a mode, obviously I'm not going to tell y'all to go listen to the same songs that I told you to before, but the 3 on my list for today's music moment. Number 1, I think this is a given that the Off Season by J. Cole just came out, but number 1 is definitely Pride is the Devil, and the reason that song is on there is because the first time that I listened to the song all the way through, not once did I think about pride. And then I had to go and look up the definition of pride. And I started thinking about, and then I journaled later that night about how I put my pride and my ego in situations before actually trying to resolve the situation. And that song, the verses that J. Cole did, even the one that Lil Baby did, it took me back, and it made me, do more self-reflection. I think that day I did 2 journal entries instead of 1, where I was just, trying to work on myself. Great song. Different song, whole nother vibe would be Anita, Girl from Rio. She just released the remix with the baby, also good. But it's I'm pretty sure she's Puerto Rican. I'm not 100% sure, but Anita, Girl from Rio. I don't care if you're a man, woman, whatever you identify as. This is a good song. And number 3 is going to be Trouble on Central by Buddy. Now, Buddy has written a lot of songs for Dreamville and The Weeknd, and I'm pretty sure Chris Brown. Don't quote me on that, but he's written a lot of music, and hearing him perform one of his own songs was just super dope. Trouble on Central, it's a R&B type vibe song, but it also talks about the life in LA. The reason it's called Trouble on Central is because a lot of crime happens in South Central, but the song in itself I really enjoy. If you like it and you have any suggestions on my suggestions, let me know. Or if you want to send me some music, I feel like there should definitely be a social media platform that lets us share only music, and then we have a way to add that song to our playlist, and it plays like a 10 to 15 second clip of it. I think that'd be super dope, and we can all basically just be listening to the same songs. It'd be fire. Other than that, I appreciate y'all for listening to another episode of the Waveoftheworld podcast. As usual, I've been your host, Jacob Bodega. If you'd like to support the podcast further, you can go to patreon.com/Waveoftheworld. You can also go to jacobsbodega.com to purchase any merchandise to support the kid and further the Wave of the World movement. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Go out and do great things and share some love today because somebody needs it. Bye.